Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. I know, how lucky are you? Two impromptu breaking figure news videos, one after another, day after day. You love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. Out of nowhere, we have another announcement from Tamashii Nations discussing the SDCC 2023 exclusives that we are going to be getting for this year. Now, if you are if you're if you're unavailable, I don't know how you're watching this video, but if you're unfamiliar, we did discuss this in the big figure news video, the bi-weekly figure news video, that we take a look at everything that's happened in the past 2 weeks, and we were talking about how, obviously, for SDCC, they were going to have some Dragon Ball stuff, and every year they always have some exclusives. We were just kind of waiting to see when they would announce it, and it seems that we have the official announcements for all of the figures. So we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive in here, see the information that we know, and some potential information that we could be seeing coming up. So the first exclusive that we're going to be getting is the Super Saiyan Son Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan. Now this is really, really cool. First of all, we'll actually take a look at these, by the way, in the full version. We'll go here because, as you can see, Tamashii has also posted this on Instagram with basically the same thing here, but then we can also look at the images here as well. And funny enough, they basically posted the same thing on Twitter, if we take a look here. But I feel like, I'll give you a little preview there. I feel like on Instagram, right, you can actually see them a little bit bigger than you can on Twitter. Maybe it's not that much of a difference, but they also tend to give you a little bit more info on the Instagram account. But yeah, so we have the SH Figuarts Gohan here that comes with a Ghost Super Saiyan Goku, which is really, really cool if I do say so myself. Gohan looks very, very nice. I will say, I'm not sure how I feel about his faces. I definitely am going to have to see a couple more of those for sure. The gritting teeth face doesn't look that bad. I feel like it's something about his hair. I do like the screaming head, and Goku's screaming face there does look a little interesting. But this is really, really cool with this sort of clear Goku in the background. Obviously, this is kind of supposed to be after Goku dies, you know, saving everybody from Cell. And then obviously when Cell comes back in the Father-Son Kamehameha, when Goku's like kind of memory, right, is in the back of Gohan's mind. And then obviously he's talking to Gohan through King Kai. This is really, really cool. I definitely like the way that they did this. Obviously, this is going to kind of be two figures, right? Because this Goku figure is coming with Gohan. And as you can see with all these images here, right, Gohan is going to have all of these different accessories and the Kamehameha, which is really, really cool. You can see that these images here are quite literally just the same ones as this, right? Literally the same thing as they have. And also the benefit of Instagram is you can also have more images. But yeah, like for this one, right, that kind of looks like something different over here. You can just see that it's the cut off top of this. But very, very cool for the first exclusive. For the next one, we have Majin Vegeta, which is super cool. So if we go back to the Instagram page here, let's click on the boy. This is super, super cool, if I do say so myself. It will come with this little background, by the way. The exclusives have been coming with these key effects in the background with the electricity as well, which is super cool. Obviously, Majin Vegeta getting a rerun is really, really nice because this is such a popular figure. And I believe they only did this guy one time. Maybe they had one other version of this come out in the past. If memory serves, I believe that was the case. However, this is quite the older figure, and they have not really brought my man back a ton in recent time, and people have been really, really wanting this figure to return. So it's nice to see that they are giving us another version in the SDCC exclusive, which is really, really cool. Also will include the aura effect, right, as you can see there. Very, very nice for the exclusive. If we go back once again, you can see that the next one is Raditz and Gohan, which is really cool because I was thinking, oh yeah, Raditz, right? And I will say, this one is a little bit silly, I will say, because I know for a fact that we semi-recently got a Raditz, right? And I know that this is definitely a little bit more accurate to the manga's color scheme. However, this is definitely a little bit of a silly exclusive to kind of just remake the figure again. But it is cool at least that you are getting a Gohan, the funny fizz Raditz right there, that you are getting the kid Gohan with this guy, which is really cool. That is a very nice shot of Raditz there. You actually get this little kid Gohan with him, which is pretty cool. I don't think that, unfortunately, this guy is articulated. This does look like basically just an accessory, right? As you can see, right, he is just standing still there. And then if we go to Raditz here, you can see it is literally the same thing. Although his eyes are closed there, I think, where his eyes open in the other one. Yeah, I think it's quite literally just you change the head is kind of what it looks like to me. Yeah, because the tail is like in the same place there. That would make sense because, I mean, it's basically the same pose. I will say, I don't know how I feel about the faces on this figure either. I feel like the faces look a little bit off. Like, they're trying to make them more anime accurate, but at the same time, like, the screaming face I feel like looks really good. But I feel like they look a little bit off to me for some reason. But I am always very picky with my figure faces, so definitely keep that in mind. And as well, the final one, oh boy. Your boy's got a lot to say about this one. The Extra Battle Super Saiyan Gogeta Fusion Reborn Exclusive Edition, the Figuarts Zero Edition. Now, here is my problem with this figure, right? Hydrate or dihydrate, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to drink water. But this figure is not drinking water because he ugly, bro. If you saw my video yesterday about Janemba, we talked about how for this original figure, right, when we were discussing Janemba, that they actually brought this guy out, and then they showed Janemba next to him, right? And then, of course, Gogeta came out and Janemba never did, and now we know that Janemba's coming out very, very soon. But this was like the original image that they showed for him. And if you eventually saw the final images of when the figure is finally in the hands of the consumers, yeah. He did not turn out so great, unfortunately. As you can see, not only does his face quite literally look like a bootleg figure, but the actual paint apps on the figure are awful, right? You can see that there is some like light yellow there where it should just be all orange. Even the paint kind of, you know, like basically going off where it should, right? It just looks very ugly. It does not look like $100 figure, which is what this guy is. And not to mention, right, again, I suppose that this could be a little bit more of a result of, unfortunately, just how this image was edited. But I feel like that this image looks like everything is a lot more bright in contrast to the actual version, right? All of the colors are very washed out. The orange that should be present on the edges of the aura is basically non-existent, right? And the I'm trying to remember Stardust Breaker. I was trying to call it the first name, but I think technically now it's officially called the Stardust Breaker, but I know we called it something else first. This attack, right, obviously looks a lot more bright here, and you can see this literally looks like a washed out marble that they just glued to the top of the figure. It does not look anywhere close to the original. So that is why your boy is kind of wary of this guy, the Gogeta, right? It does look like, so I will say, right, it's interesting because in terms of the colors between the two, right, you can tell that 100% they did change up the color scheme like a little bit. If we go back to this image, sorry, I'm looking at my different images here. Let's look at the actual production images for comparison, right? I think the hair is probably the main thing that changed, right? You can see that this is obviously just yellow with a little bit of like shiny paint over it, and this looks almost a little bit more translucent, right? Like the colors are a very, very little bit different. Obviously the ball also still kind of looks washed out, to be 100% honest with you. But the thing that I'm the most interested in with this, right, is the sculpt. Because the sculpt is what I want to see the most. So let's actually go to the... Oh, also, this was a crazy teaser, by the way. Apparently, SH Monster Arts is going to get Yu-Gi-Oh! From the way that this looks, which is kind of insane. But if we go to the boy Gogeta here, we can actually zoom in on the image here. And you can see that the face sculpt on this guy does look a little bit different. than the images that we saw on the final version, right? If we go back to, I have so many tabs open here, I apologize that I'm kind of mixing them up. If we go back to this, right, the final version, you can see that it definitely looks a small bit different for sure, but it's still very much so, like, it definitely looks a little better, but it's still not great. And I'm assuming that they're just using the same sculpt, because whenever they do these figures, right, that are like exclusive color versions of things that already exist, they never actually redo the sculpt for the figure. And if they do, they make a heck of a big deal out of it. So unfortunately, I think when this guy is opened out of the box by consumers, they are going to be greeted with this lovely face right here, just in a different paint job. So we will have to see how the final version looks compared to these production images that we are seeing from Tamashii right now. But only time will tell on that. So I will say, before you go out and get this guy, just be careful with your purchase. The other thing, by the way, that I did want to note that is interesting regarding that fact is if we take a look at Majin Vegeta, the interesting thing about him is that I do believe that this is actually just the 1.0 body again. If you guys are unfamiliar, in recent time, SH Figuarts has remade their figures in a way that the articulation is much better, and it also looks a lot more like fluid in terms of the sculpt. Like if we look at Raditz, right, you can see that his knees look a lot more like correct when they're bent, right, and they kind of look like one fluid sculpt. Even the same thing for Gohan, right? You can see that his legs, despite having the ripped pants, look quite a bit better than the normal ones, although that could still be the older sculpt. I'm not sure, because actually Goku's sculpt is definitely the older version, I believe, of the pants. At least I think so. That could be the newer one. I'm not exactly sure, to be 100% honest with you. Let me know in the comments if you know 100% certainty. But regardless, though, it is kind of a shame that if that is the case with Vegeta, right, that they didn't remake the figure and it's just a different color and they're just, like, you know, throwing it out again, basically. Which, I mean, at least they're remaking it at all, and obviously the original versions of these figures aren't bad, but it's just a shame that they're not, like, giving them a proper update, right? Now, what is interesting about this, I will say, is that this is not on the official English Dragon Ball website, right? But it's on the Japanese one, which is kind of funny considering that obviously this is, you know, an event that's going to be happening in America. It's going to be happening in San Diego. So I do think that that's just, it's kind of funny, to be 100% honest with you, that they have it on the Japanese site. Unfortunately, there really isn't too much in terms of like new info on the website, right? Even if we look on the Tamashii Nation's website, it doesn't seem like it's necessarily updated yet, unfortunately. But I'm sure that most of you are wondering with this, right? How are we going to be able to order these figures, right? How are we going to be able to purchase these bad boys right here, right? Not that guy. How are we going to be able to purchase these figures, right? Well, obviously, these boys are SDCC exclusives. They are San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, which means that if you are at San Diego Comic-Con, you will be able to actually go to the event and pick these guys up from the Tamashii Nation's booth, because they are exclusive to the event. Now, I know what you're probably thinking for the rest of us. Well, does that mean that we won't be able to get the figures? Well, not necessarily. Let me show you a little something right here. If we go to, unfortunately, Premium Bandai, but if we go to Premium Bandai, right, obviously, these are all figures that have come and went by this point, but if you remember me talking about these in a previous video, or if you are unfamiliar regardless, these are event-exclusive figures right here, right? Whis, Beerus, right? Nappa, right? Goku, Boo, 16, because these are the exclusive event color versions or the event versions of these figures, right? They're not like the original release of them. But a lot of the time, I'm surprised I don't see God Goku on here, actually, because he was also part of Whis and Beerus' lineup, and for some reason Nappa was also there. I don't know why God Goku isn't there. But regardless, They do release these figures on Premium Bandai, right? So let's just use Beerus as an example here. They do post these guys on Premium Bandai for us, the people who are not going to the event, to be able to order in some form or fashion. It is really unfortunate that it ends up being Premium Bandai, because obviously we know that Premium Bandai's prices are usually stinky, and the shipping and all that other stinky stuff. But at least if you are not going to the event, you still have an opportunity to buy these figures. So they are not listed yet, right? These four are not listed on Premium Bandai just yet. Usually, oh, we'll talk about Yamcha in a second too. But usually, right, with these exclusives, they put them up either during the event or the last day of the event or a couple days after, right? So it's not like they're putting them up usually, right? Usually, I mean, it is Bandai. They can do whatever they want. They usually aren't putting them up the same day as the event, because obviously they want to make it feel like, oh, you have to go to the event to get the figure, right? And then it's this exclusive thing. But then afterward, for the general populace, they usually put these figures up on Premium Bandai. So if they do that, I will make a tweet about it, and I'm sure I will include it in either one of these breaking news figure videos or one of the recap videos talking about it. Out of all of these guys, right, for sure, I mean, I don't think I can bring myself to pre-order this bozo again. When I saw the actual images of this guy, I never even took him out of the box. It's still sitting in the corner of my room. I can't bear to look at his face myself. I might do it for a video someday just to absolutely clown on this guy. But I am going to be interested to see how this guy turns out with the final product. However, Raditz I'm not really interested in. Majin Vegeta I might get, just because I have, like, really none in terms of SH figuarts for Vegeta, but definitely Gohan, because I think obviously the whole thing with Goku having the ghost is super cool in the background. But that is basically it for the San Diego Comic-Con info that we know at the moment. I did also just want to throw this in here because I know I mentioned Yamcha yesterday in the Janemba video, and I was talking about how I don't know you know, what the official price is going to be yet. But Premium Bandai actually had him up, and I only found it out after I was done recording the video. So I just wanted to throw this at the end of the video here. He's going to be 65 bucks. You can pre-order him tomorrow. Will be the start date. And as you can see, it is basically all the images. Can't believe they included this. It's going to be all of those images, right? He's going to come with 3 different types of hands, 3 different faces, which obviously that's besides the ones that come on the figure. And then the exchangeable Android 20 part. For 65 bucks, I definitely don't think it's worth it. This easily could have been an over-the-counter release. And if they really wanted to include the Dr. Zero part, I think 40 would have been a perfect price for this guy, honestly. But it is what it is. But anyhow, let me know what you guys think of everything that we took a look at in this video today. Let me know if we are able to pick up these exclusives. If you plan on picking up any of these, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And let me know again about the specific body types, the SH figuarts figures, because I know that there's somebody out there who's more knowledgeable than me. When it comes to the very nitty-gritty of specifics with SH figuarts, I'm not as good as I am with prize figures and Kuji figures. So it's something I'm still working on in my figure collecting brain. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Again, when we get more info about this, I'll keep you guys posted, and I will see you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.